Before I jump into my review, I wanted to mention that this copy of Days Gone was provided by Sony for review purposes. Along with that, I have another disclaimer, and this doesn't happen very often, but I wanted to add this disclaimer for Days Gone because of an odd situation. During this review period, Days Gone was patched 3 times by Sony developer Bend Studio. These patches substantially fixed the game's glitches, bugs, and performance issues. So while I did experience jarring issues during my first 10 hours or so, I'm going to take into account the bug and performance fixes that Bend made and how the current state of the game plays. Anyway, let's jump on in. First off, don't worry, this review isn't going to get into any story specifics. I believe narrative-driven games are best experienced going in as a blank slate. I will only touch on the story with vague details. In Days Gone, you play as Deacon, a drifter bounty hunter who, as I'm sure you know by now, lost the love of his life. Deacon is a character I wasn't intrigued by initially. His personality felt a bit generic and forced. However, after spending a lot of time getting to know his past and personality more, he grew on me. To me, Deacon is a character haunted by his past and dreads the future. He has a lot of layers, along with the many characters introduced in this game. Acting is mostly up to snuff with other Sony first-party titles. 2 characters, Ricky and O'Brien, particularly stood out to me with outstanding acting performances. When I jumped into Days Gone, I was expecting one linear story with side stories to fulfill if I chose to do so. You know, like the traditional open world game. Things are a bit different than that though. Days Gone has multiple story threads unfolding at once throughout its 40 to 50 hour story. This, sadly, is one of my gripes. Having multiple main stories at once can cause things to feel a bit disjointed and scattered. This will likely vary from player to player depending upon what order you do main missions and side missions. I personally thought one of the main story threads was much more interesting than the other ones that were introduced, and unfortunately, it is sporadically revisited throughout the game. Days Gone does a lot of really cool things with its characters though, and the relationships with Deacon, and ultimately I was satisfied with where the story ended, even if it didn't blow my socks off. Unfortunately, there are some great side plots that didn't get to blossom into anything special or significant. And to add to that, the story seemed a bit long. I thought the game was about to end multiple times only to have hours of more dialogue to go. As I'm sure you've seen around the internet, Days Gone has been compared to Sony's other post-apocalyptic zombie game, The Last of Us. And rightfully so. The 2 games do share a lot of similarities in terms of aesthetic and gameplay. Days Gone's human versus human gameplay is shockingly close to The Last of Us, sneaking, crafting on the go, and combining firearms with melee combat. This style of play is prominent in Days Gone, and I have no complaints. Taking out an entire camp of bandits never got old for me. Freaker hordes, on the other hand, that's where Days Gone feels the most like a unique experience. These moments are really intense and one of my favorite parts of the game. You stumble upon hordes mostly at random. When this happens, you have to choose to run and hide or take them on using the environments and whatever you can craft. Let's just say explosives are your best friend in Days Gone. The day-to-day life in the world of Days Gone is simply fantastic. Whether you're ambushing bandit camps, doing bounties, or helping other survivors, it all works. The constant new environments, changing weather, and stories help make the world feel alive. The attention to detail in the world of Days Gone is very impressive, with environmental storytelling aplenty. Every camp feels lived in and tells a story by itself. Traveling to the next destination isn't just busy work like most open world games. It's a key component to what makes Days Gone great, and I salute Sony Bend for achieving what many developers fail at. Throughout Days Gone, you can upgrade Deacon and his bike. While most of the bike upgrades aren't essential, they are fun to purchase. You can also upgrade Deacon's health, focus, and stamina, which all come in handy with stronger enemies and hordes. Deacon also learns new skills along the way. Again, not many of them are essential, but they do keep things fresh and offer a sense of progression. Even after completing the game, there's still lots to do in Days Gone, and I'm excited to jump back in for more. In terms of performance, as I mentioned in my disclaimer, the game does suffer from bugs and performance issues. While the occurrence of these performance bugs dramatically lessened throughout the review period, it still does chug in places. The frame rate dips often and some wonky stuff happens every now and then. Oddly enough, most of the frame hiccups are present in a specific region of the game. Thankfully though, nothing game-breaking ever happened to me. I did have to reset the game once because a bounty didn't show up on the map. As I said before, the game received 3 patches during my review period, and I assume there's going to be another big day 1 patch. A lot of the performance issues will probably be solved over the next few months. Days Gone does a slew of different things and mostly succeeds at everything it attempts to do. While I'm not a fan of the way the story is presented, it was still an intriguing ride to take. Combat feels engaging and familiar, and freaker hordes are dreadfully intense. However, at the end of the day, the world of Days Gone is what stole the show. It's beautiful, evolving, and full of chaos. Thanks a lot for watching this review. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and maybe even that notifications bell if you're feeling generous. I'll talk to you guys later.